So we are back with another tier list video, and today we're ranking all 30 NBA starting shooting guards. Now this is a ranking of the projected play in the 2022-2023 NBA season, so this is how I think they will compare amongst the other shooting guards in the league. Without further ado, let's get into it. So first we have Josh Primo. Josh Primo is going to be like the main ball handler on that Spurs team, I believe, now that Dejounte Murray is gone. The Spurs drafted him early last year in the lottery, and he showed some good glimpses what he can be as a player, but not quite. The potential is not quite there yet. So as of right now, I'm going to put him in the C tier. He could move up to the B tier because he can get a lot of opportunities on that team this year as they're trying to tank. So we're going to put him in the C tier for now. So next we have CJ McCollum. Now CJ McCollum was tough for me because I do think he'll play a lot of point guard for the Pelicans next season. However, he has been a shooting guard like his entire career. So I feel like it'd be a little early for me to classify him as a point guard. So as of right now in this video, he's going to be the starting shooting guard for the Pelicans. And I don't think there's really any question. He's definitely in the A tier. Now this shooting guard list was a lot harder than the point guard list because the point guard you had a definite S tier and then you went down from there. Here the shooting guard pool is much worse than the point guard pool, but I still do believe that CJ McCollum out of the group of guys is an A tier player for now. I could adjust my entire list by the end of the video. So right now CJ McCollum is going to ball off the Pelicans. He's definitely A tier material. Desmond Bane, definitely B. That's a great spot for him, just because he really broke out last season, averaged like 16 points a game, great spot up shooter. But that's really all he did. He really spot up for majority of his shots. Maybe develops more of a ball handler this year, becomes attacking more off the dribble more. But I think he's going to be a great backcourt mate for Ja Morant for years to come, and I think he could potentially break the 20-point mark this season if his continued trajectory is going up. But I think B tier is very solid for Desmond Bane. Jalen Green. I think Jalen Green is going to be an absolute stud on offense. I think I'm going to have to put him in the A tier for the shooting guards. I think he's going to get a lot of attempts for that Rockets team. He really found his groove at the end of the season last year for the Rockets. Not really much has changed with that roster. They just added Jabari Smith, who's not looking like going to take a lot of shots away from Jalen, and Jalen's going to be the main focal point. So I see him in that 24-point range next season. I think that's well enough to put him in the A tier for sure. Kevin Huerter. I'm going to put Kevin Huerter in the C tier, and because I did that, I'm going to move Josh Primo down in the D tier because I don't think these two guys are on the same level in terms of effectiveness on the basketball court quite yet. And I think Kevin Huerter is going to have an interesting year for the Kings. I really like Kevin Huerter as a player. I wish the Hawks kept him. My only concern with him is now the Kings have loaded up on their guards again. They have Fox, Mitchell, Monk, Huerter. They have Justin Holiday now. They got a lot of guys who are going to play that shooting guard position. So I think his minutes and his shot attempts are going to go way down. But he is a great shooter, and that's what the Kings need. So right now he's going to be in the C tier. Devin Booker. I'm going to put him in the S tier for the shooting guards. I mean, he had a great season last year. He's playing on a winning Suns team now. He's putting up great numbers. He's really the best player on the team that's been the best team in the West for 2 years, at least standings-wise. He's definitely S tier for me, above these two guys for sure. Austin Reaves. Now, the Lakers were interesting, too, because I really didn't know who to put for shooting guard. I mean, you have Austin Reaves, you have THT, you have Lonnie Walker. I think Wayne Ellington's still on the team. You got Desconnell Anderson, who's kind of a 4, or kind of a wing, but he could play the 2. You have Troy Brown Jr. So a lot of options at the shooting guard position, but I ultimately went with Austin Reaves, mainly because that's what ESPN projects him to be, as a starting shooting guard for that team. And he can be a bucket, and a really good shooter, good defender, pretty good playmaker, all around very sound basketball player. I think C is a good rating for him. Terrance Mann. I'm floating between B and C. I think I'm going to stick with C for now, mainly because with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard hopefully coming back for the entirety of the season, I think his few shot attempts are going to drop even farther now when you also have John Wall. John Wall joining the team. Sorry about that. But this one's also tough for me because I think the closing lineup will be John Wall and Reggie Jackson at the same time at the guards position, which means Terrance Mann's on the bench. But I think starting every game, Terrance Mann's going to be that guy, and he's a really good cutting, defending, hustle player for that team, and he's developing a three-point shot. He could blossom in a really good player this year, which I hope he does, but I think there's a chance that he takes a step back in his development because of the added pieces on the Clippers. And they also got Norman Powell, too. So I think Terrance Mann is going to be the guy that's starting for them, just to give him a little defense and such. Anfernee Simons. If Dame Lillard wasn't coming back, I'd absolutely put him at the A tier. I think Anfernee Simons is that guy. He's just going to be playing with Dame Lillard, and Dame Lillard's going to be taking up a lot of the ball handling duties. Unfortunately, I think the Blazers have another CJ McCollum, Dame Lillard combo going on, which obviously didn't work for them for years. But Anfernee Simons is a damn good player. He's a great shooter, great finisher, great ball handler, great pass. I mean, he's just a great guard. And I think he's going to play the two guard alongside Dame Lillard and have a fantastic season. So I'm going to put him there. Klay Thompson, do I dare put him in the B tier? I know he had a great comeback from his injuries, but he wasn't like all-star potential player. There was no, you can't argue that he had an all-star type season last year. And he's going to be another year older. You got emerging players like Jordan Poole, Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga. So I'm gonna put Klay in the B. I think Klay at the B spot is okay. I hope he proves me wrong and moves up to A. But I think that's just where I'm gonna have to put him for now. To be honest with you, that's that feels wrong because I feel like other guys are going to land in the B in this video, and it's going to be terrible. I might end up moving Klay up. We'll see. We'll see what happens with the rest of the ratings. Josh Giddey. See, I want to put Josh Giddey at the B, but next to Klay Thompson seems kind of wrong. But Josh is a damn good player. Like he's a very unique shooting guard. I'm gonna have to do it. He's gonna be a really good player. I'm projecting his shooting is going to be a little better. And then besides that, he's a really, really good player. I mean, his playmaking is one of his best attributes, and he can do it at a very, very high level. Again, I saw my last video. I switched between Shea and him, whether they play the 1 or the 2. I ultimately thought Shea was going to play the 1 because he's just going to be more of an explosive point guard for them. And every team needs a good explosive point guard. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna pump the brakes on Josh Giddey. I'm a huge fan. I'm gonna pump the brakes. I'm putting him at C for now. Anthony Edwards. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think he's gonna be S tier next year. I think he has a chance to have a jump like Ja Morant did this year. I think he could be in that 27, 28 points per game category. Timberwolves is gonna be a top 4 team. Anthony Edwards is that guy, and especially with the addition of Rudy Gobert, this guy doesn't have to spell a lick of energy on defense, at least in the regular season, because they got the big guy in Gobert protecting the paint. And I think he's going to be the main focal point on offense, taking that number 1 spot from Cat, and I think he's going to absolutely have a tremendous, tremendous year. So S tier for me and for Anthony Edwards. KCP, always going to need to have a guy like KCP in your team, a good 3-and-D shooting guard, makes the right plays most of the time, shoots a high clip from 3, plays good defense, absolute stud. The Nuggets got a good one in that. Bradley Beal, I'm putting him in the A tier. He's getting paid like an S+ tier, that's for sure. But A tier, I think he's a good shooting guard. He's really good actually. But S tier, not for me on Bradley Beal. Not much to say about him. I mean, he's just he's going to be another irrelevant player in the league this year because he's on a mid-level Wizards team that's not going to do anything. I mean, that's just been his career. He had the opportunity to change it, but he chased the bag. Can't blame him on that one. But yeah, that's just where Bradley Beal's career is going. Tyler Herro, definitely B. I don't see him A. Definitely not C. Great shooting guard. Can give you 20. Won't play much defense. Won't give you much playmaking. Won't give you much anything besides scoring. But his role in that Heat team is to score the ball, so you can't knock him for that. And I think he's going to start this year. It really would be odd if they still ran Duncan Robinson or even Max Strus. I think they should go ahead and start Tyler Herro. I think he deserves it. I think he earned it. So that's where he's going to be for me in the B tier. Jalen Suggs, I'm really not high on Jalen Suggs anymore. I loved him at Gonzaga. I don't watch that much college basketball, but I watch a lot of Jalen Suggs at Gonzaga. But I don't think his game is going to translate. He's an undersized guard who's not super quick, not the craftiest around the basket, not the best shooter. And I ultimately think that Fultz is going to overtake him at the starting guard position. So it pains me to do this right now, but Suggs is going to be on that D tier. Hopefully he can move up. Hopefully he has a tremendous year, but right now I can't put him much higher than the D. Like, it's kind of the same level as Josh Primo. You just really don't know yet, but what you've seen is very mid, So, like, are you taking these 5 guys ahead of Jalen Suggs on your team next year? Yes. Terry Rozier, B. He's a great offensive explosive guard. Can go off for 30 some nights, but can also shoot efficiency some nights. Great 3-ball shooter, great rim attacker. And he just plays really well with the mellow ball. I think he's going to have a great year this year. Terry Rozier is a stud. And Dejounte Murray, I'm going to put him in the A tier. I think there's no real question there. Again, I know he's been a point guard for his entire career on the Spurs. But since being traded to the Hawks, there's no argument that he's going to play the 2. I mean, he's not going to be the point guard in that team. He's going to be the point guard at moments, but 99% of the time he's going to be playing the shooting guard alongside Trae Young, bringing great defense, great playmaking. Hopefully he can space the floor really well. If Dejounte Murray can space the floor for that Hawks team, that's going to be a very, very good team. So A tier is definitely where he needs to be in this video. Grayson Allen. I know he's a dirty player. I don't like what he did to Caruso. Don't like what he does to a lot of players on the court. But he's a perfect player for that Milwaukee Bucks team. And speaking about the Bucks, Chris Middleton is a small forward in my eyes. Their lineup every single game was Drew, Grayson Allen, Chris Middleton, Giannis, and Bobby Portis or Brook Lopez. That makes Grayson Allen a shooting guard. Chris Middleton is the small forward. So Grayson Allen is a starting shooting guard for that team. Don't at me. But yeah, I think C. He's very similar to kind of Kevin Huerter, Austin Reaves a little bit. Just a great spacer. Can go off and give you 6, 7 threes in a night. And just an overall sound offensive player for them. Buddy Hield, I think B is literally. I think Buddy Hield's perfect in B. I don't think you can argue higher or lower for him. One of the greatest 3-point shooters the game has ever seen. Was played really, really well for that Pacers team last year. And I think he could maybe jump up to the level of these guys. That's a very, very strong could, so that's why I'm not putting him up there. But alongside Tyrese Halliburton, who's one of the better playmakers in the league, he's going to get his shots up, and he doesn't need much space to shoot them, so he's going to be a killer for that Pacers team. Next, we have Jaden Ivy. He is the only rookie in this pool of players, and I didn't really know how to grade him going into this when I was making the video, but I think the rookie, I'm just going to put him at C. I mean, from the 5 minutes we saw in Summer League, he killed it, but Summer League means literally nothing. But I don't want to automatically put him on D because I think he does have a lot of potential and could maybe win the Rookie of the Year. All 5 of the guys drafted top 5 could potentially win it. So I'm just gonna put Jaden Ivey as a C, but there's nothing really to it. It's just a placement for him now, so it gives him room to go down, gives him room to go up. Seth Curry. I'm putting Seth at the B. I think he's kind of a low tier B out of all the guys up here. I think he's more of a B minus, C plus. But I'm taking Seth over anyone in this bottom row in order for my basketball team to win games. Great 3-point shooter, can mainly catch and shoot, can shoot off the dribble a little bit. But you would love to have him as your starting shooting guard on any team. Our next player is Jaylen Brown. We can put Jaylen Brown at the A tier. Really not much more to speak on that. I mean, he's not an S tier player. He's not a B tier player. He can go off and give you 30 any given night. He's a great defender, great rebounder. Has issues here and there. It's really just his turnovers for me. If he could limit those turnovers, I think S tier material is written all over him. And it's also the attempts per game. Since you play with Jason Tatum, your attempts are automatically going to be second to his. So I think S tier is a great spot for Jaylen Brown. And if he's comes to the season with a chip on his shoulder because the Kevin Durant trade rumor, maybe he goes up to S tier. Who knows? Caris LaVert. I really like Caris LaVert, but I don't know where to put him. I really don't know where to put Caris LaVert, to be honest with you. We're going to move on from Caris LaVert for now. We're going to go back to him. Zach Lavine, A tier. Again, no real argument there, in my opinion. Give you 30 any given night. Great three-point shooter. Great rim runner. Gives you nothing on defense. Great playmaker at times. Just all-around fantastic shooting guard. A great fit for that Chicago Bulls. Hopefully they can do something great this year. I just said great like 10 times. Zach Lavine's a great player. That's just the bottom line. Evan Fournier, he sold the Celtics when he got traded to him. So he's going C tier. We traded nothing for him, but he also didn't play well for us at all. So C tier, decent spot-up shooter, can disappear at nights, can explode some nights. I think C is fine. Again, I'm taking every single one of these guys over him 10 out of 10 times. Gary Trent, B tier. He's a great shooting guard, great role. He's like a glorified role player. Like he's up there. Great shooter. He can just shoot the lights out for your team. That's just what it is. If he's open, he's gonna shoot it and he's gonna make it. That's Gary Trent for you. Reggie Bullock, I'm putting him in the C tier, but he's just a great starting point guard or starting guard forward for that Mavericks team. Again, this is another one where I didn't really know who their starting shooting guard was going to be now that Jalen Brunson is in New York. So I went with Reggie Bullock. There wasn't really any other options that I really liked. And Reggie Bullock is going to be a great 3-and-D player for them. I mean, if you want to take a 3-and-D role player, like draw an image of him, that is Reggie Bullock. He's absolutely mastered that role, and any team would love to have him. Donovan Mitchell, he's an A tier. I don't think he's an S tier. I think he's right on the level of all these guys. I think he might be glorified a little bit because of the shot attempts he takes. I think he was playing with another star. His scoring would be a little exposed. But all in all, you can't, going in the next season, he's probably going to put up 50 shots a game if they decide to blow this team up and keep him. Trade to New York, we could see what happens. But A tier is just, you can't argue with A tier for Donovan Mitchell. Great scorer. That's pretty much the realm about all these shooting guards in this video. All I can really say is great scorer, great defender if they are one, and that's really about it. So Donovan Mitchell, not a great defender. We know that by now, 100%. So moving on to Tyrese Maxey, B tier. That's pretty easy for me. I would say potential move to the A tier, but I don't know. That seems kind of a stretch for me. I think he's a very, very solid. Not me to do that. I think he's a very, very solid B tier. Playing alongside James Harden, Joel Embiid is going to be the third option. He could average, flirt with 20, probably end up averaging like 18-ish points, shooting, good efficiency. So that's where Tyrese Maxey is going to be. Caris LaVert. Then we'll put Caris LaVert ultimately in the C tier. Because I'm taking all these guys ahead of him. But I'm taking Caris LaVert above most of these guys on this list. So he's kind of like a C+, B- type of role for me on this video. So that pretty much sums it up. Before you guys go, I did make a point guard tier list I uploaded yesterday. Please go check that out. It's popping right up here on the screen. And popping right up here on the screen somewhere. And I'll see you guys next video. Peace.